You know that moment when everything feels heavy, but you still tell yourself, it's fine, I'll handle it. Your chest is tight, your mind is tired, maybe your phone is right there, a name you could call, a message you could send. But instead, you sit with it alone. You distract yourself. You wait for the feeling to pass. There's a certain kind of person who carries more than they admit. From the outside, they look capable, independent, calm under pressure. People often admire that about them. What most people don't see is the quiet rule underneath it. Don't need too much. Society tends to praise self-reliance. It labels people who don't ask for help as strong, low maintenance, easy. And if they do struggle in silence, they're sometimes described as distant or emotionally unavailable. But this isn't about pride, and it isn't about thinking you're above support. It's a pattern. When someone avoids asking for help, even while they're overwhelmed, there's usually more going on than stubbornness, and it's rarely explained in a way that feels personal. Psychologically, asking for help activates vulnerability. It requires exposing uncertainty, admitting limits, risking disappointment. For some nervous systems, that combination doesn't feel neutral. It feels unsafe. Research on attachment and stress responses shows that when people experience repeated moments of emotional unavailability or unpredictability early in life, the brain adapts. The amygdala becomes sensitive to signals of rejection. The body learns that depending on others can lead to discomfort. So the nervous system chooses a different strategy: self-containment. It's not that support isn't wanted, it's that relying on it once felt unreliable. Over time, independence becomes more than a skill. It becomes protection. Maybe you grew up in an environment where your needs felt like a burden. Maybe when you expressed overwhelm, it was minimized. Or maybe you learned early that being the strong one kept the peace. The brain is efficient. It wires around what hurts. If asking for help once led to dismissal, criticism, or subtle withdrawal, your system remembers. Not always consciously, but physically. There's a tightening, a hesitation, a quiet voice that says, handle it yourself. And so you do. It's important to say this clearly. This isn't better or worse than being openly dependent on others. Some people regulate through connection. Others regulate through autonomy. Neither is superior. They're different adaptations to different experiences. There's also a paradox here. The people who struggle to ask for help are often the first to offer it. They notice when others are overwhelmed. They step in. They carry. They listen. It's easier to be the reliable one than the one who needs. There's strength in that, real strength. But there's also a quiet cost. When you consistently carry your own weight without letting anyone share it, you reinforce the belief that your struggles must be handled alone. The brain learns from repetition. Each unspoken need becomes further proof that it's safer not to express it. Eventually, the isolation doesn't come from lack of support. It comes from the habit of withholding yourself. None of this means you're incapable of closeness. It means your system learned to equate safety with self-sufficiency. And that makes sense. You adapted in the way that kept you steady. You're not cold, you're not dramatic, you're not too much for needing support, even if you rarely show it. Your hesitation has roots. It was shaped by real experiences, real environments, real moments when being independent felt necessary. There's nothing broken about a nervous system that learned to survive. And if this feels familiar, there may be other areas in your life where you default to strength instead of softness, control instead of exposure. Not because you don't want connection, but because at some point, handling it alone felt safer than risking being let down. If this resonates, there's more to understand about how you learned to carry so much, and what it might feel like, slowly, to let yourself be carried too.